everyone, welcome back to The Curious Healer. My name is Dana Marie, and today I'm at the amazing Tairua Beach in the Coromandel, New Zealand, and I'm here with Matt Castle, emotional restoration coach, breathwork facilitator, general all-round awesome human, and I'm very grateful to have you here today, so thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Matt's quite inspirational in his approach to life, and I've been learning a lot this morning, and I just wonder if you could share a little bit more about what you do and how you're supporting people each and every day.
Sure, yeah. It's been amazing to connect with you and share a little bit of my work and learn a little bit about what you're providing with the community. So it's fantastic. Thank you for having me. So look, I have obviously had my own struggles that I've worked through. In 2021, I went through a breakup and had trouble reconnecting with my children after that. And since then, I went looking at the behaviors and patterns that kind of led me to, the disconnect within my relationship. So on my journey, I've really just developed tools and resources to help with my own emotional restoration and dysfunction that I experienced within my relationship. And then I just had a calling, a real desire to take that to the community. I just wanted to bring people together for myself, probably selfishly, but also to create a space where others can actually feel what I feel as well. That connection and that kind of tribal atmosphere. We discussed earlier about that primal behavior, and I was raised quite primal, living on the land and living off the land and being quite rural. I really have learned a lot of my perception around the learnings based on, ancient knowledge really about how we work is related to myself and that primal nature and related to relationship dynamics because I feel that obviously right now, the collective are going through a lot of changes, a lot of growth, and there's a lot of pain in that growth. And one of the areas that was really quite important to me was the relationship dynamics and behaviors based on childhood patterns and behaviors, but also our environment that we're living in within this 3D realm. And so that led me to learn a little bit more about how media influences the behaviors of the collective as well. So along with all of that, it's having the knowledge for me. I now teach, emotional restoration mindset. And as a result, it's a process to become more conscious and consciously aware of our emotions and our physiology and our psychology as well.
Wow. And I want to break that down a little bit. So your innate primalness, which sounds like life and who we are as humans and our natural state of being. But what's the learnings around that? What's the teachings in terms of what we're not necessarily having at the forefront of our experiences today?
Yeah, look, we live in a commercial realm and everything is monetized, which means that everything that we are doing is means to an end in some way. And where I have kind of come from and where I've from my heart based on my upbringing and that primal behavior, it's my spiritual connection, I guess. It's the essence of the masculine and the feminine, the reproduction, for me, that is the romantic part of life, is actually truly understanding the depth, the ability to be vulnerable in a space while still being strong enough to carry the load that we kind of have to. So, that primal behavior is more around it's embracing the uniqueness of the masculine and the feminine roles, whilst understanding where they can get intertwined within our own. So, for example, we all have this feminine energy, like men have a feminine energy as well. And if that balance if that balance tips one way or another within a relationship, it can create a disconnect as well. For a woman becoming more masculine because she's working and she's got a lot of stress, she's carrying a workload, raising children, providing nurture for her husband out there, who's taking on a lot in the world. So, that commercial realm is it's really distorted the beautiful, the romance of our innate design of that primal behavior. And primal behavior doesn't necessarily mean like caveman type behavior. It means that there's something else driving us from here rather than here. And I think the commercial realm is more here, and it's more contractual. And it's really creating that disease from here, which is the primal. A man wants to, provide safety, provide for his woman, build, build shelter, provide food, and give her everything she needs to create a beautiful home. And she wants to multiply that and amplify that. And that's a primal aspect from my perception. That's kind of a primal aspect in how I was raised. And I think if we are able to kind of see the difference, then we can really start to hop in the driver's seat of our own experience and experience a little bit more beauty in our lives on a daily basis.
Yeah, I really like that, because it's talking about the essence of who we are as humans and our natural, having both masculine and feminine qualities, and bringing those into balance within ourselves, but within symbiotic relationships and within community as well. And I wanted to touch on that a little bit, because undeniably in the women's space within the wellness community, it's kind of reached it's kind of had an uproar. And I want to know from a man's perspective, like you're doing a lot of work working with men and everything that's going on there. And I want to see if you can share some ways that men are being supported in this space, even going out to our listeners, and other men might be able to feel the same. Just because for me, I feel like we're kind of in our own way creating more of a disconnect than we need to. We need to all support one another and bring each other, and not just look at our differences, but look at our similarities and how we can grow together. And I know that's your world, so I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, so I'm working predominantly with men going through separation or having problems heading that way fast, basically. And I'm working with women as well, but predominantly with men. And so having that men's support, having that connection with other men with a little bit more depth, other than just, the biggest fish and the biggest boat and the house and the mortgage and the job and the business and all of that surface level stuff, a little bit more about, what is the purpose, checking in on the purpose and checking in on what really truly drives you. And that's that primal, that behavior that I think we are numbing on a daily basis. They're carrying so much inside that they're afraid that if they're vulnerable, they're going to overshare. And a lot of guys do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that comes from not having the male, like the clean, healthy male tribe around us. And this is what I've learned since doing men's work is, we're able to, when I speak, the new guys are really blown away. And I said to one of the guys last night who's just come on board, I said, when's the last time you had a conversation like this around the barbecue with a beer in your hand? And he said, never. So we're not getting that space where men can actually talk below the surface of societal expectations, which is what I just explained before, what I mentioned before about the mortgage, the big boat, the fishing, which is his idea of providing, hey, look at me, I can provide, I can catch big fish, I can do this and I can bring it home for my woman and my family. And then, there's the competition factor as well. Men are competitive with other men, which is good because other men build to where they're at. But that also means recognizing your flaws as well so that you can build up to deal with those flaws or those things that you're struggling with emotionally, to the level of the men that you have around you. And I think a lot of people, because we have been so trained and we've got so used to involving alcohol with our male connections, our bonding rituals, there is no emotional connection with the alcohol. You may feel it as you're drinking and you feel like you're connecting well with a mate, but the next day you feel completely empty. So it hasn't actually charged you. It hasn't actually that hasn't changed your physiology, which is what we need, because the emotions are physiological. They're inside the nervous system, they're inside the flesh, they're inside the cells. The cells have memory. And so if you completely poison all of that function, then in that space when you're sharing that time and that connection with other men, you're not actually getting the benefit, the energetic benefit that your body needs and requires. And this is why people are searching for this fake feel good emotion. The chocolate, the booze, the pornography, even just a wife, like being addicted to your wife's intimacy, and it wears her out because you haven't actually learned how to harness the energy around you. And so you're constantly trying to harness her energy. You're trying to get uplifted from her. So this is a big thing for women, I think, in the marital space, is that they're exhausted from giving that energy. It's not even that they're doing the household chores. A lot of women really love to do that. They still to clean house and tidy house and to provide a home for her family. It's not even that. It's the energetic vampirism that comes from men that are lacking that real emotional depth and connection with other men. And I think that we are also in that space. I think that we are designed to kind of check each other. It's like challenge each other, challenge what we're saying, challenge our beliefs. And then it creates that tribal atmosphere of am I being left out of the tribe because of my beliefs? And that is where that creates the pain, or it creates the emotion, it creates the fear, and that's where we can make positive changes. Because that pain point, like negative emotions are pain, basically, and it creates that pain point, and the pain has to get so loud before we actually take notice. And it shouldn't have to get that loud. We should be able to listen to our bodies and listen to the emotions. And the pain teacher, I call it the pain teacher, Paul Check. I follow Paul Check, and I've worked through a practitioner, one of his practitioners. So I work with a lot of his modalities, or his spirituality, his shamanic type structures. And so I think there is a lot to be learned about how to harness energy from other avenues. I've actually learned to do it for myself. We were speaking into morning rituals, which is really big with my men that I work with, and the morning rituals. It is a way of harnessing energy from around us. We can reset and recalibrate and get on with that stressful day that we need to, in order to actually be productive. Otherwise, a lot of times we can be just really doing a lot but not achieving much, and that's a really bad space for a man to be in, because it can create confusion, and confusion is destructive interference within the brain, and that destructive interference basically flatlines, and then you become more needy for acceptance and validation, and that's a slippery slope for relational dynamics, for I guess friendships, and for actually the value that you bring to the commercial realm. Yeah.
Wow.
And for men, I think a big part of it is actually realizing that they are leaders, and we've been conditioned to hand that role over to women. The media, women have stepped into more leadership roles throughout the last 30 odd years, and they've developed more independence in the workspace, and as a result, they've we as men, we really want to give our woman what she needs. We want to give her what she needs, and so that she's happy, and that when she's happy and she's settled, then she can help me with my problems as well. You know, when I need that nurture, when I need that love and connection, she's there, she's happy, she's ready to go. You know, so men will overgive, and this is where we discussed a little bit earlier around the psychology and the spirituality. And spirituality, if we are focused completely on spirituality, we can lose the opportunity to really create consciously the programs within our unconscious mind, the belief systems, and challenge the belief systems that are currently operating. And so, you know, the spirituality is a beautiful part of the primal behavior as well, but also with men have a duty, I think, now to stand up and to lead again. They're afraid to do it because they're afraid to lose her. They're afraid to lose that attraction, or they're afraid to lose if they lean into conflict. They're afraid to lose her. But the whole reason the conflict exists is because he's scared of conflict. Because the emotional turbulence that in relationships that women bring to the relationship can throw a man off, especially if he's struggling in his work. And so really understanding, I think, the dynamics of where your emotional reaction is coming from as a man, because reactivity is a childlike behavior. And that's the psychology that I'm referring to as the child mind. Carl Jung talks about man-child and the child mind. The child mind is the unconscious mind that is operating between the ages of 0 to 7 without a prefrontal cortex, virtually. So those behaviors are really where men are actually losing the ability to lead, because they're trying to give her everything she needs, and they're not actually focusing on themselves and the stability in the relationship. This is what we talk about within the men's group. We talk about like a man's role, because it's been so warped in society, a man's role, that really they are so confused. They have no idea. They've provided everything. They've tried to do more dishes and more cleaning around the house and do more with the children and everything. And she's still lost attraction for him. That attraction there's a psychological reason why that attraction dies. It's not just the masculine and the feminine dance. There's psychology behind it. And it's just we have not been taught what's happened. We haven't been taught, because the influence for the commercial realm has overtaken our knowledge for how that actually works. And when we learn how that works, we can actually drive the relationship a lot more consciously for a man. And we can create emotional safety. We can create emotional spikes. We can create excitement and joy and enthusiasm in the relationship, which creates respect and attraction within a woman. And I think this is where men have gone wrong, by not challenging women in that space as well. Challenging, I mean, when those emotions are coming up, either allowing it to come through if it's falling into a disrespect type thing, and then men should be able to challenge to set boundaries so that he's staying firm in himself, and then she surrenders because she sees that he's unfazed by her challenges. he's grounded. He's stayed grounded, and that is the true masculine. That is the true masculine primal nature, I think, is the grounding. When the storm, it's like the waves in the ocean. He's the rock and she's the waves. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing when you take those learnings through your own personal experience and through relationships, and you do relate it back to the inner child, because so many times when we come into conflict or we come into a space where something's not feeling something, it becomes this reaction, and often we don't get our needs met. Either party gets the needs met in those moments because it's not being worked through in the multiple layers of what exists. There's something that might surface, right? But there's always so many layers behind it. And that sounds like how you're approaching things within your coaching, is to really unpack all of the layers that what exists, not just in the primal nature, but just in the human nature of.
Like, where are those reactions coming from? Because the emotional reaction it's a belief that you need to protect something. It's a wound that we're protecting. So when people attack me on social media, I see it from a completely different perspective. I don't see it as an attack on me. I see it as them actually protecting a belief that they have. So when you understand that basic fundamental of our existence, then you can really start stepping into creation of your own life and how you want to live. Because others that are judgmental, others that are challenging you, it no longer matters, and it all just falls off. And you can just keep going in your direction. And it really is incredibly empowering, knowing that it's not you. You're moving forward, and others are starting to challenge you, because all of a sudden it's challenging them by you saying and doing a certain thing and heading in a certain direction. They're freaking out because they're thinking, "Oh my God, like I don't want to have to do that. I'm happy just being me. I'm happy smashing booze and fishing and doing all this, whatever it is." And so that change scares people. So that reactivity is actually coming from protecting that belief and protecting wounds.
There's a lot of safety nets in those protections, but it's nice to hear that more and more people are stepping into that vulnerability and learning about those layers. And we can keep living the same life we've ever lived, but that's not part of life. To grow, to evolve, to learn, to discover. And, if something's not working, and it's going to keep not working and not working, you can accept it. Fully, not change, but you will stay where you're at, right?
Like, you're going to end up like the Truman Show.
Just wall canvas.
Exactly. And, there's no fun in that. That is a surefire way to bore yourself to death and die an early death. We are meant to grow as human beings. We're meant to challenge each other. And when we step into that in a non-judgmental way, but more of an observant way, that's when personal empowerment starts to come, and that's when relationships can really start to thrive as well. Because in the beginning of the relationship, everything's new. There's no worries. There's no stress on the nervous system, and everything's kind of evolving, and it's great. But when you've been together for a long time, your nervous systems are starting to really pick up on the things that you don't like about the other person, or potentially even bonding too hard with that person can cause you to lose yourself and lose the ability to lead and to live a life that you want to grow, to grow as a human, as a man or a woman. So important. It's so incredible what you're doing, man. Like I was really excited, and thanks for coming to meet me this morning. If you were going to share one last little tip, like in terms of what you'd love to see in the space of wellness and men, women, growth, development, or something from your learning so far. Like it's just we've got all these listeners on here that
just might be a little bit curious or a lot curious in this space, and just wonder if you have something, a gift for us all.
Well, it's not necessarily the idea, because a lot of us healers are all saying the same thing. So, many things will begin to resonate as you start listening to things. It's going to challenge new beliefs, and eventually those new beliefs form, and then they form new beliefs, bigger beliefs. So it's like atomic habits. These small habits build the bigger belief.
Yeah.
So initially, the wellness space or the spiritual world may seem quite woo-woo or far-fetched or a little bit too much for you. That's the beauty of all of these different practitioners that offer, and say very similar things. We're all we're all teaching similar things from a different perspective. Our projection of our experience is involved in that teaching as well. And so find somebody that resonates with you, and then dive in with curiosity and that willingness to learn new things, because that's what we're meant to do as human beings in relationships and ourselves and our work. We're supposed to grow and learn new things. And just the open mind is the open mind, open heart, and the sharing and acknowledging and respecting others' position in life and where they're at in life as well is quite important too. Some people are not ready to do the work. And again, it's like atomic habits. Those small shifts start creating bigger beliefs.
Yeah, and I think one of those things that you're talking to as well is sort of that world of isolation around hurt and trauma and things that have separated us all. And that's what I really am inspired about through this tour, but also through what you're doing. It's not even people just showing a curiosity, is that there's somewhere for them to go. And, there's so many beautiful men out there, and it's been hard to find those pockets, not just with men, but with women, and understanding one another and everything. And I feel like it's a really exciting time for that space to evolve as well.
100%. Yeah. It is a very exciting time. I am super excited. I'm loving my work. I love helping men that are ready to be helped.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the growth, the instant growth.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, like within 2 or 3 conversations with these men, they're already like, wow, I can see the weight lifted off their shoulders.
Yeah.
Don't try and do this alone. And I keep saying to the guys that don't want to work with me, if you don't want to work with me, whatever it is, money, financial, whatever, go find someone to work with.
Yeah.
Don't do this alone, because you just simply cannot change the beliefs that you hold without opening your mind to others that are guiding you in whatever direction. And then the beauty comes, because you start jumping in the driver's seat and enjoying the the creation,
discovering more of the essence of who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, thanks so much for joining me today, Matt. It's been absolute pleasure having you here, and for my breathwork session earlier, really appreciate that. How do people find you?
So Facebook, obviously Matt Castle. Otherwise, I have a school platform for men and for women separately. You can find that Emotional Restoration Project, and you can check my website, emotionalrestorationproject.com. Otherwise, just Messenger or WhatsApp. Perfect. And if you want to reach out and have a conversation, that'd be great.
Amazing. Sounds great. Highly advise it. Great guy here, doing amazing things. And thanks for everything you're contributing to the world.